Hello, I am Alex, and on behalf of my co-authors Jordan Taylor, Ben Ainsworth, Jason Alexander, I'll be presenting our work, Manifesting Breath. Manifesting Breath focuses on exploring how the combination of a physical artifact for wellbeing support influences an audio-only component of a digital mental health intervention. We aim to investigate the physical augmentation of these interventions because of their intended objective to combat the growth of mental health needs. However, there is known to be poor engagement whilst using these systems, which hinder intervention effectiveness and symptom alleviation. There are problematic associations linked with smartphone use, and commonly detachment and derealization to digital strategies amongst those with reduced mental well-being. So we thought, hey, there's this fantastic body of work that already explores more engaging solutions that, through the emotional and psychological significance of touch, could overcome some of these limitations. They are often referred to as haptic, physicalization, or tangible user interfaces, for which we pulled all these terms under one banner and referred to them as PAWs. And then we thought, let's explore the most dynamic means of representing an inner state through a free interaction medium, hence the ambiguous sphere, and give that to a user during an intervention and compare it to what is already used. So that's what we did. We created a system that synchronously translates pulmonary activity into pneumatic activation, through capturing breath via a chest strap, converting that into a readable signal, and enabling air to flow in and out of a handheld deformable sphere. We believed a greater awareness could be attained, facilitating self-regulation, cognition, and other behavioural practices that utilise breath. So we go about exploring this through a randomised control trial paradigm containing 58 participants, which over 1 hour was subject to several phases. To quantify self-regulation and biofeedback synchronicity during the study, we capture baseline heart rate and object pressure readings during a 5-minute window. We then gave the experimental participants a pause, isolating the compressor in a separate room, ensuring no sound interference and facilitating a soundless, shape-changing experience. Our control group had no interaction with the object and only experienced the evidence-based guided mindfulness breathing exercise. After intervention completion, the object was taken away from the experimental group, where they were instructed to deliberately bring their attention to a personal worry. This facilitated anxiety due to the deliberate attention to a potentially worrisome event over a 6-minute period. The combination of this approach allowed us to both compare the in-the-moment intervention effect, but also understand and explore how the engagement within that intervention could influence an anticipated event. And before we concluded with interviews, we gave participants the opportunity to self-engage with a recentering activity, depending on how anxious they felt, allowing them the chance to recalibrate their own well-being based on their needs. As for some, the worry induction can be quite intense. So what did we find? We found that those who had access to the physical system reported 44% less anxiety than their audio-only counterparts. And we found that after 6 minutes, their physiological data showed significant indications of better self-regulation. We found that this increased intervention effect had a benefit towards self-referential worry, leading our experimental participants to report half as much anxiety. After being left alone to ruminate on their worry, 27.6% less of an experimental sample felt they did not need to engage with an additional supportive recentering activity, meaning that those who used the object got more out of the intervention and retained that benefit even after the object was taken away, which is fantastic. Even more so, we saw that post-worry well-being levels were similar to baseline measures, whereas our control participants saw a decline in their well-being prior to optional recentering and debriefing. Despite both groups reporting no difference in worry severity levels, the anxiety felt towards the negative future occurrence was less. So if I was to give a pragmatic example, if we both equally believed that giving a bad presentation would be as catastrophic, as likely, and make us feel equally as devastated, the individual who had engaged with this more potent intervention would feel much less anxiety towards the event. Whilst at this stage we are uncertain of the full range of psychological mechanisms that account for these differences, we sort of believe that the multisensory channels of touch and audio provided a tangible, quantifiable and continuous experience that enabled our experimental sample to find it 2.5 times easier to focus on their breath. Simply, the presence of a physical object that facilitated continuous, quantifiable feedback reassured users of their performance and purpose within the intervention. By having a tangible system, awareness to the task and themselves was improved. This enabled users to spend less mental energy focusing on the task, facilitating a more sensitive experience that through these sort of self-physicalized micro-nudges kept their mind present on the activity. The ambiguity of the system then facilitated the user's belief in what they chose it to represent. Because the object did not imitate a real-world occurrence, it allowed the user to overlay their own beliefs onto what they wanted the object to be. For instance, their child, pet, or in some cases, abstract references such as a little ball of light. And whilst I cannot overview all of our findings within this presentation, here is a snapshot of some of our additional results that can be found in our paper. However, if you can remember one key aspect from this talk, it'd be this. The combination of a pause that utilized both biofeedback and shape-changing technology within an evidence-based audio intervention provided emotional regulation opportunities beyond current means. By having a physical system that was a manifestation of themselves, they were able to benefit through better focus and self-regulation. This then facilitated psychological accessibility, which then gave opportunities to those who may have not been able to benefit from them before, whether it could be children, elderly, or individuals with neurodiversity. It opens up a number of possibilities. Therefore, the grand scale implications of these technologies could bring are the empowerment to users to better manage their own well-being. It could provide alternative solutions to users and services. It could enable minimization to barriers of mental health and improve recovery rates and reduce dropout rates, thus enabling new techniques that may have yet to be discovered within these service settings. And of course there are more, but I can't go into them now. So on behalf of myself and my co-authors, I'm deeply thankful for your interest in our work. Please do not hesitate to contact me for further information.